Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Tuesday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe. At Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. Number 16, Syracuse looks to rebound, hosting an unranked College of Notre Dame. At noon this Saturday in the Dome, which is sold out again. I heard. That's awesome. Coach got into that a little bit. And so that is excellent. We will give you, we'll talk about your picks first, because that's what goes first. I researched it. Then we'll go over our picks from last week. And then we'll give you our always accurate predictions for this week. Live on YouTube and Spotify Live app for the fan feedback segments. You'll have to forgive us if we get slightly sidetracked here as Syracuse plays their first exhibition basketball game against Indiana, PA. And I'm going to watch a little bit of that right now while you listen to what Coach had to say in his Notre Dame preview, his Notre Dame pregame presser.
I'm going to start with the 25 seconds, okay? There was a mistake on our part. It's been handled internally. It was a 25-second mistake. And based off of how we do things, I feel like it's corrected, and that will not happen again, or should not happen again. But no doubt there was a 25-second mistake on the clock, and that was bad. When it comes to Tucker having 5 carries, that's something that should not happen. I agree with everyone else that he should have more carries than that in a football game, and that has been addressed. The thing with penalties, which is something I normally do not speak about, I want to talk about this a little bit. The situation with their quarterback on the sidelines with Eli, where their quarterback was scrambling towards our bench and then running up the sidelines. When we make mistakes on our football team, and when we make mistakes that have happened in the past, we try to correct them so they do not happen in the future. Everybody's entitled to a mistake. We're trying to make it so we don't make constant mistakes. What that young man did was he hit the sideline and he was running up the sideline, acquiring yardage. And we have had that happen to us before last year with Jordan Travis when we played the Florida State game. And we went towards that young man at Florida State, and we did not try to tackle him. He cut back in and grabbed another 25, 30 yards, and they kicked a field goal, and we lost a game down there that we felt that we were in control and we had a great chance of winning. So that's how things go. Since that has happened, we use a new technique, what we call escorting the quarterbacks out of bounds. And what Eli was doing was escorting that young man out of bounds. If you go back and you watch the tape, he did not lower his head. If you go back and watch the tape, he did not bend his knees in what we call a loaded position to deliver a blow. If you go back and watch the tape, he did not push that young man out of bounds. Okay? So what he was doing was escorting that young man out of bounds. Now, if you also watch the tape, he also got pushed from behind, which made him, because he was not in a striking position, get out of balance, and there was a flag thrown on us. I'm not sitting here saying that flag was wrong. The quarterback got hit, they threw the flag, that happens. But we were not going to allow him cut back inside of us and run and do the same thing that happened to us last year. Now, I understand that flag being thrown there. What I don't understand is the situation that happened later where our quarterback got into the similar situation where nobody pushed their defender in the back and their defender pushed our quarterback in the back, and we did not get a call. Now, I'm not going to sit, this is not me crying about calls. I turned them in. I have not gotten a response back from the league. I would like to just know what we can do to be able to do those things better so we don't make those mistakes in the future. Those were the things that those are the things that we saw on tape. I can't talk about injuries right now. A lot of them I don't know. Anytime you play teams like that Clemson team, that there's a lot of banging. It was an extremely physical game. And I'll know more later on about who's going to be available and who's not going to be available. But you guys know how I am. Even if I know, I'm probably not going to talk about it anyway. So, but it was a physical game. We do have a lot of people in the training room.
All right, so that was that. Okay, very good opening statement from Coach for everything that happened during the Clemson game, and we kind of move on after this. Okay, he came in and admitted the wrongs, the two big ones that we both talked about, or that we all talked about here and read off of fan feedback, and that's 25 seconds, and it is Tucker getting more carries. Okay. I think I harped on the penalty there on Elijah, but I saw the same video Coach did as the one that had we brought it up, put it on YouTube Live yesterday or Sunday, and I mean he was going to hit him. That's how I look at it. That's as honest as I could be, because that's how I see it. He was going to hit him regardless. I don't know if there was much of a push there or not. The problem that I have with the whole thing was that it wasn't called on the other end. That's what really fired me up, okay? And coaches turn those in. They're handling the 25 seconds internally as they should. Admitted there was a mistake. Obviously, I mean, we kind of figured. Unless, they saw something we didn't, and he was going to save a timeout, and then something happened, and it was a last-second thing, which could have been, but still a mistake, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tucker getting more carries. I ain't a coach, man. I ain't a quarterback. I'm not running a read option. I have no idea. So, anyway.
Right. Well, when you look at that, like I said last time, every single read option could have went to Sean Tucker, and then that would have been completely taken away, right? So it wasn't like they were not calling plays that could have gone to Sean Tucker. They just happened not to. So, but they, like I said, he took accountability for.
Right. That's the big thing. Yeah.
For those situations and those complaints from everybody on the outside looking in, and he gave us a little bit more of input of what was really going on, because I do remember that play, and I thought that play was really, we talked about that game last year and that play at nauseum, and how Marlowe Wax got that rough in the passer, and then he was afraid to hit him again over there on the sidelines, and Travis or Jordan Travis ended up running for whatever, and they ended up winning the game. So
yep.
I 100% agree with having some type of tactic or thing to handle that. But just the way it looked. I mean, I understand getting a little bit more clarity from him and him explaining it, and then Matt telling us about that video and seeing that hand come from behind. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't egregious, absolutely not. But
Mike Glennon was the one that originally posted that.
Right. So it was not. Was it not egregious? No, it wasn't. But at the end of the day, like, if he made contact with him out of bounds, and it kind of looked like he kind of extended his shoulder a little bit, right? I mean, and that could all just be natural reaction. But at the end of the day, I mean, a penalty's a penalty, and I think he kind of sold it too. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously the biggest travesty of that whole thing, right, is that they didn't call him when they hit Schrader, and that was the biggest thing. I mean, fair is fair, and you're never going to know what that did to the outcome of the game. But as you alluded to last podcast, if you looked at it by the eyeballs, that was when the momentum shift happened.
Yeah, and who knows? We can't even speculate from there. That's the fact, though, in my opinion. That's my opinion, but I think I think
it's an easy opinion to have.
It's an easy opinion to have.
Happens, then we punt, and then the very next play they run for another touchdown, and then that's like.
Well, there was the Marlowe Wax.
Wins out of bad.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm talking about after they didn't call it on Schrader.
Oh, Yeah, wins out. Yeah, get behind the sticks.
Because we were still winning.
Sean
you know
McDonough was talking about it, and I mean, you just can't. You can't get behind the sticks on that team. They're going to come after you, and they're way too talented to not be successful in those types of situations. Can't talk injuries. We can only speculate there, and just hope that there was a couple of them, and mostly on defense there, and Tucker got up slow at least once, and.
Yeah.
That's
Coach said there's a lot of players in the training room.
Right. And at the end of the day, I think that, this is a situation where it's that point in the season, right? And, we had our very own Tyler Marone on to talk about, and I don't know if it's still the way it is, but not a glamorous program over there at Syracuse. So, I mean, look, maybe it's changed, but that's where we're at. So we'll find all that stuff out later. I expect Garrett Williams back, though. That's I do expect, and that's good. I could be wrong, but I expect him back because he was suited up and warming up with the team. He just couldn't go.
Right.
So, anyways.
Well, it was good to find out it was just a thigh bruise.
Yeah.
Like we thought,
right.
Mikael Jones' knee went in, hit him, and he just wasn't ready to go, but he'll be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Question is, who won't be?
Well, that's the
we won't know till Saturday.
We will not know until game time, and you heard Coach. Even if he knew, he wouldn't tell us anyway. So we wouldn't find out till Saturday regardless. That's what Stephen Bailey's for, though. He asks those pressing questions. Where the hell is he anyway? So I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to listen to Coach on Notre Dame quickly and talking about it's? We know now that it's sold out, but I had this done before we didn't know, and he talks a lot about. So
we're done with Clemson.
We're done with Clemson. That's done. Done. We won't talk about it again as long as I can help it, because that wore my ass out last episode. I was tired. I went right to bed. So let's just quickly hear what Coach had to say. We'll get into our quick preview here, and then we'll get into some fan feedback, and wrap this baby up. Okay, Syracuse is up 18-20. I'm gonna watch some basketball. Y'all listen to this.
Notre Dame, it's very, very difficult to beat these guys. They're extremely well coached. They have fantastic talent, and you normally catch them in a venue. Beating them at their place is really, really hard. I take my hats off to the teams that have done it this year. But for us to have an opportunity here in Syracuse to have Notre Dame come to the JMA Dome, I expect it to be, and I hope it to be, a coming out party for our fans in front of the national media. I mean, this needs to be an animal party. Okay, there goes your movie reference, an animal party out there. And hopefully the fans will come out and show them exactly what our 12th man can do. The only opportunity I had of winning a game against these guys was at Texas A&M when they came to Texas A&M, and our 12th man down there showed off like they always do down there. And we need our 12th man up here to show off. We're going to need them. There's no doubt that Clemson fans help them, and we need our fans to help us. Notre Dame, fabulous team, outstanding offensive personnel. Their tight end's an NFL tight end. Their defense is just as good as Clemson's. Okay, and that's not to talk bad about the offense. They have three tailbacks. They rotate three tailbacks. They've got a big bruiser, they got a shifty, and they got a speed guy, and they are all good. And they are difficult to bring down behind that offensive line, which is always good. Notre Dame always has a big-time offensive line. And when they get the tight ends next to them, they have a tendency to be able to run the ball on anybody they want to, okay? They have their second quarterback is in. He's more shifty. He's more mobile. He's more like a shiftier guy than a guy that sits in the pocket, and they have receivers that are speedy and big. So this is a loaded five-star team, similar to the team that we just played, and it's going to be an exciting game. We're looking forward to it, and we're trying to get healthy enough for it to show our best, put our best foot forward.
Last statement left me a little nervous, but nevertheless, we'll see what happens. A good synopsis there by Coach. Everybody's general public tickets are sold out as we mentioned, so that's awesome. I guess that message got through. The all-time series between Syracuse and Notre Dame sits at 7-3 in favor of the Irish. The first time these two teams met, easy for me to say, was in 1914. Notre Dame taking that game 20-0 in Syracuse. Frank O'Neill, a.k.a. Buck, the head coach of the Orange at the time. Remember Buck, Joe?
Of course.
Notre Dame is currently on a 4-game win streak. You have to go back to all the way to 2008 when the Orange won their last game under Greg Robinson there. In that era, a 24-23 win in South Bend, a late Syracuse touchdown put the Orange up with 42 seconds left. Golden Tate returned that sucker, then that kickoff, 51 yards, eventually setting up a 53-yard field goal for the win. It was up, and it was no good, and Syracuse won. So that was a cool story. Total defense for Syracuse, as it sits right now, going into Clemson, they were 8th. They are down to 16th. Notre Dame's is 30th. They're averaging 341 yards allowed a game. Total offense, Syracuse is 61st, and Notre Dame's is 77th. Syracuse allowing 411 yards a game and 386 respectively for Notre Dame. Rushing offense, 44th for Syracuse. Coincidence? I don't think so. And 47th for Notre Dame, 179 to 178, essentially. Defense, rushing defense. And focus on these numbers here because of how Notre Dame likes to play. 39th for Syracuse in rushing defense, allowing 123 yards, and Notre Dame 61st, allowing 139. So Notre Dame's had its struggles this year, and they fell out of the rankings after a loss to Marshall in week 2. They find out they're losing their starting quarterback, Tyler Buncher. Drew Pine comes in. He's done a decent job. The fans not huge on Drew Pine, not sold on that dude yet, but he does just enough. Now, he's got some decent wins under his belt. I think UNC being one, and then BYU when they were ranked. BYU's, I think they're on a 3-game losing streak right now, but so not great. And they beat up on UNLV last week. We said we thought we had the bye. I believe we were wrong.
We were.
So
sorry, guys.
Sorry about that. I hate doing that. We should have looked it up. But they beat up on UNLV, and that was after suffering a loss to Stanford. And, you know, the thing about that game that I gathered from their fans and their blogs was that they won, but they still weren't happy. That it was an ugly win, and instead of looking at the positives, they just kind of they really weren't impressed much.
What was this?
With that game? The Notre Dame win over UNLV was fans were not impressed. And there was a lot of mistakes. They squandered a bunch of opportunities inside the red zone. So, Joe, another big squad, though. Coach thinks the Irish defense is as good as Clemson's. They have 3 bruising running backs, okay? And Audric Esteem, Logan Diggs, and Chris Tyree. They're averaging over 4 yards a carry each. And Tyree's third in the rushing yards with one shy of 300 on the year. So with the game Syracuse had against Clemson, and I mean, this is just me, but I have to worry about this a little bit since we don't know the details on the injuries and things like that. So I'll leave it there, Joe. Your thoughts on that and who else we need to look out for as far as Notre Dame comes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say
as far as Notre Dame goes.
Right. I mean, this looks like a team that doesn't really pass that much. You're right, Drew Pine. He was a backup that came in, and you know, when you look at the schedule and what he's done as far as throwing and all that kind of stuff, I mean, it's been some good ones, been some bad ones, but I mean, they haven't really played like a gauntlet. It's tough because I know they had their starting quarterback the first week at Ohio State. I mean, they were ranked, I think, preseason 4th or 5th. So the talent's there.
They were 5th, I believe. Preseason.
New coach. They lose the game at Ohio State 21-10, which is not a bad showing. But they also lose their quarterback, and then they end up losing to. Oh, actually, I think they lost.
They lost the quarterback to Marshall. Yep.
And Marshall ended up winning 26-21. Actually, yeah. So then you go. I mean, at home against California, you win by 7. At North Carolina, you win by 7. Or against BYU, you win by 8. You lose to Stanford by 2. I mean, I mean, they've been losing games at home and going on the road. They won a game on the road against North Carolina, right? North Carolina's got a good offense, but I mean, really, it's just that defense. So that just tells me that Notre Dame really is offensively, limited. They have Michael Mayer leading their team with 44 catches, 526 yards, 6 touchdowns. The next best receiver, Lorenzo Styles, with 23 catches for 287 and 1 touchdown. Mayer's the only one that's got over 1 touchdown catch this year. So he's really the main guy. So when you look at this team, you got to look at what their positives are. They're going to have probably the talent and the size on their offensive line over our defensive line. They have 3 running backs that they can switch in and out that all have different kind of talents. And I mean, Esteem is the 5'11", I think 227, and he's the bruiser. And they all average over 4 yards a carry. So, and then there's Michael Mayer, who's obviously, a problem in the tight end, which will probably
number one receiver. Did you say that?
Yeah,
okay.
They'll hit him up with the play action and stuff like this. But seeing this, I believe our corners are going to be able to lock down the receivers. They do have some guys with some speed, so as long as they stay disciplined and don't get beat over the top on some play action stuff, then I think that in the passing game will be okay. Because I just don't know. I think Drew Pine is got some negatives with that too. So I see them having an issue with their passing game, minus obviously Mayer. And then I see them trying to run a lot, man.
That's my worry.
That's my worry too, because again, we don't really know how healthy we are, and I believe they're going to try to make it boring and come in there and ground and pound, and make it physical, right? Mm-hmm. And coming off of a physical game like Clemson, then that might not be as easy for us. So, and as far as their defense goes, I mean, their defense is good. Obviously, they have talent, 5 stars all over the place. But you wonder if, losing their starting quarterback and losing the first 2 games of the season really got them just going through the motions and stuff like that. So you never really know. But the talent's there. But they give up more points than we do as far as defense goes. And, obviously, we talk about wanting to evolve and everything like that. And we obviously have to. I mean, Garrett Schrader alluded to it. Coach alluded to it. And I think that this is going to be a game where obviously they're going to make sure Tucker gets the ball, and I can see a really, really physical, low-scoring game. But I mean, hopefully the 12th man shows up and helps us out like they did NC State. Yeah,
and just to reiterate the one point, and it's the hinge point of the game for me, is that these 3 running backs are just going to get used up, and so is our D-line. And that's where the game's going to be won or lost.
Yeah.
And, you do have to worry about their defense a little bit. A lot, probably. But I think you take that Clemson game and the positives come out of it. Like, if Coach really thinks we're playing a similar team, and I can see that with the talent, there's not a whole lot of differential there. I think it's just a first-year coach, and
there's coaching involved.
Yeah, there's
stuff going on.
There's a number of things that can be contributed to Notre Dame's lack of success this year, being a preseason top 5. I don't think they're as
together as we are as a team.
No, I don't think so either. They got the 10, but which just goes to prove that you don't have to have a bunch of 5 stars to win all the time. Like, you can have a bunch of 3 stars and some fringies. But it's how they're coached and how things are put together. And this team is just different like that. And that's the difference this year for us. So with that said, they've got some woes there. Coming into the Dome, going to be a huge issue for them. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. Otto's Army's got the ticker, the false start ticker. We're up to 14. I'm hoping to push that sucker to 18 or 20.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'll hit 18. I think another 4 is fair to say, but we'll see what happens. And
dude, they have to.
I mean, I would think so.
I mean, screw Notre Dame. Everybody hates Notre Dame.
Everybody. Our fans hate Notre Dame. I'm so glad that our fans hate Notre Dame the way I do, too.
Oh, God. I mean, don't get me wrong. I bet you there's a big, big part of those tickets that are going to be Notre Dame fans, because Notre Dame travels well. So
yes,
let's not get it twisted there. But, I mean, even just the arrogance, just everything we've had to deal with, like, I want to play you guys in all these sports, but I don't want to be in your conference, right?
And I got my own. I got my own television station,
right? Because I have my own television station. Yeah, exactly, right. And like,
it should be. I'm sorry. It's so corrupt. It's so corrupt.
Play you, but we don't want to play you in the dome. We'll play you at Yankee Stadium because the dome's just not good enough.
And then we'll come in from Indiana and we'll wear pinstripes. Get the out of here. What the hell's wrong with you? The arrogance here is just mind-blowing. Get out of here. It's so annoying. And the thing is they just think they're so entitled to it because of Rudy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't care.
Rudy. Who's watched
Even in
Rudy?
The beginning, nobody. Like I said before, bro. Hobbits, stop. Stop.
Anyway, those are our thoughts. Now, it's time to hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, every Monday, I ask for your final score predictions. And you give them. We talk about them here. We go over our last week's predictions. And we also give you our current week predictions. So, Joe, I went back, I looked. We're supposed to start with the fans. Okay? So as soon as I get there, we'll start with Twitter, since Twitter showed out and did a good job. So they deserve to go first. And I want the meat on the bones. I think we all know that.
Oh, so you're just going to switch it up?
No, this is how it was originally. When I asked you for your opinion.
So I switched it up.
You did. You did. And I let you, but you did. Do you like the vintage? Remember the old cardboard brims?
Oh, yeah, I like him. It's the only one you have, though.
Cardboard brim. Hold on. No, it's not.
I'm joking, bro. Calm down.
Got the old starter back there on standby. Just in case. All right, here we go. Let's go. Jeez. At Joe Catskill on the Twitter. Syracuse 27, Notre Dame 21. The Dome brings the home cooking. SU plays hard to avenge the game in Death Valley. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that, but I feel that. I feel like
Dino alluded to the fact that he's not going.
He's not going?
Well, he just said he hasn't lost the locker room, right?
Well,
he hasn't lost the locker room. He doesn't feel like this team is going to allow the last loss to be the reason for another loss, at least mentally. I can't speak for physically because, again, we are not going to know the injury situation.
Correct. But I agree. And I mean, that's just leadership. And you can't lie. I mean, we're not going to talk about it.
Mikel Jones is a hell of a captain, man. Hell of a player.
Yes.
Hell of a person.
Absolutely. Character. At If Not Now When 84, 27-17 Syracuse will come back with a vengeance this game. But our guys will get gassed again at the end of the game. We will let them score in the fourth, but they don't have the same D that Clemson did. He disagrees with Coach. We will not let that happen again. Go Cuse. What do you think, Joe? What do you think about Notre Dame's defense? We talked about it. I mean, I believe it's good. I think there's a coaching issue just on both sides of the ball. But, you got beat by some pretty basic teams. Like, you look at BYU, that was a win, but that was...
They were ranked.
They were ranked at the time, but they've lost... They lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
I
don't think
UNC's probably their best win of the season.
Right, but UNC has no defense.
Okay,
everyone scores 40. I mean...
Okay.
Appalachian State, I think, is still scoring on them. So, I mean, they scored 40-something points in the fourth quarter against them. So, at the end of the day, like... Every single time that they've played against a legit team or they've lost or, good defense, they've been mid-20s, if that. So, for your defense, I think that what Coach was alluding to is the fact that Notre Dame has 5-star recruiting classes all the time, right? So he's probably alluding to the fact that they have the talent is there. Right. But when it comes down to a team sport, every play, someone's got something that they're supposed to do. And, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then it can mess up the whole play. And, a lot of times when teams aren't together, then a lot of guys are just playing for themselves and playing for stats and, a highlight tape for the NFL draft.
Right. The guy Dominic is in the green room right now. He's pretty upset about this exhibition game, and he was told to just calm down. But I tend to agree. Joe let out a gasp earlier, so I don't blame.
Well, I just turned it on.
I don't blame you.
Okay, we're losing.
Yeah, I'm watching it. I am doing so much right now. At the same time, guys, I'm talented. You know that, Joe? I'm talented. I'm doing so much right now. So many different things.
Oh, you're a good multitasker. I'll give you that.
Okay.
That's what you're basing your talent on.
I'll take it. Our boy, Gio Heater. By the way, Gio promised me he was going to be here on Sunday, and he never showed up. A little upset with Gio. I know he's doing things.
Come up.
He's
doing things.
Gio,
we're not mad.
I'm upset. Nah,
he's in his feelings. He's in his feelings.
Gio, though, doing things. Got the professional backdrop and studio for the podcast he does. I'm impressed. I love it.
He's a busy guy, so
I love it a lot.
I give him a hall pass.
Except for the fact that it is a Virginia Tech podcast, which, those things happen.
Oh, that's going to be great this year.
Proud of our boy. SU 35-17, Notre Dame. Okay. Schrader goes for 250 plus passing, 4 total TDs, 3 passing and 1 rushing. Gadsden 2 touchdown catches. Tucker runs 1 and catches 1. Gosh, this kid's got it all figured out.
Whoa.
Man. Cuse forces at least 1 turnover. Mikel Jones domination in the middle. Williams back, looking healthy. Big win. Dome is rocking. It's beautiful. Do I even need to watch the game? Do I? I don't know.
I would say yes.
You think so?
Why wouldn't you?
Gio's got it figured out. What do you think about that, Joe? What do you think about that prediction? You like it?
It's a great prediction, but there's a lot of points against this Notre Dame defense.
I know. Let's see. At Oil Cuse, as eloquent as he could be, all haters can F off. Cuse 44, Notre Dame 17. Also, Joe is nasty AF. What do you think about that, Joe? The prediction. You put ketchup on hot dogs, bro. He's never going to let that go.
Dude, I do not put ketchup on hot dogs. I still don't understand that. I don't know why that's still a thing. So,
how about that?
And because of that's all I heard was the end. I just didn't hear the rest of his comment. So I don't.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. At Noah Blanchard 44, 28-17, Cuse in a blowout, and Notre Dame gets a garbage time touchdown. The Mob gets 2 turnovers, and Notre Dame never recovers. Tucker has a bounce-back game and gets 100-plus rushing, 50-plus receiving, and 2 touchdowns. The crowd causes 5 false starts, okay? 5.
Ooh.
I said between 4 and 6, I'd be happy.
4.
I said I'd be happy with 4, but between 4 to 6 would be great, right? That's not a lie. Go back and listen.
I said it's a lot.
Oh, it is a lot. Where was I?
Don't know.
5 false starts, and Notre Dame's head coach throws his clipboard like Tom Brady. Golly. Yes,
Wow.
I like that. What do you think about the Tucker bounce back game? I'm asking everybody right now because coach acknowledged that shouldn't happen again. He should get way more touches, and he should, right? So, how does that play out in your head? Honestly. He's going to get the touches. How do you think it? How do you think the motivation factor is? And you're just speculating here. What do you think?
Motivation? I don't think that Sean Tucker needs to be motivated. So
it doesn't hurt.
At the end of the day, I think that the coach is making the decision and taking it behind closed doors to figure it out. Probably going to see, at least in my opinion, more setup runs to where it's obvious you just hand it off to Sean. It's not an actual RPO.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
He's still got a lot of action in the passing game. So I expect them to give him more handoffs. I just don't think that this defense is Clemson's defense.
Okay.
If you want to go back and look at their stars when they came in, and compare it, then okay. But I just don't think overall. This Notre Dame team isn't going to come back from a 2-3 turnover ratio. Not something that is half half as less as what we did to Clemson. Notre Dame at the Dome isn't going to come back from that. Not this team.
Okay.
And we got to jump on them early. This team isn't built to come back. Notre Dame is built to kind of rough you up,
handle
take the lead. The best thing that we could possibly do is score early and force Drew Pine to throw the ball.
Right.
To somebody other than Mayer.
Right. Gotta figure that part out because that's the part. Let's see.
But at least there's a part.
Right. At least there's something to focus on. Yes.
Clemson,
and it's
there
the
really
main
wasn't
thing.
Parts.
I mean, and they could come
you
out.
could do your best.
Who knows? Maybe they come out and Drew Pine's all of a sudden a rock star with throwing the football. I mean, I just don't see.
Wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't be the first time. I mean, I'm not like exactly buying that, but that stuff happens. But as far as we see it on paper and just a little bit that I've watched myself, I just think that it's those three running backs. So at David7_W. Do I need to say underscore? At David7W.
I don't think you do.
I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I think I'm done saying that part.
It's a great decision.
37-20 Cuse. Micah Mayer gives our D some fits in the first half, but Tony White schemes for it, and we're able to shut him down in the second half. I like that. We see much more balanced run-pass ratio, and Sean eats 150. Must be gets. Is that my fault too? Sean gets 150 yards this game on the ground. Gadsden gets gets a TD or two. No wide receiver 2 yet. So there you go. There's something to talk about. Does anybody step up? Damian Alford, who steps up? I feel like we talked about, you mentioned last episode, Damian Alford's got the talent to do it. It's the problem is getting open, but he's so big.
I mean, it's something that they want to do. Coach said that it's something that they have to earn, obviously, but also it's what the defense gives you, right? I mean, it's what the defense gives you. You can't come out and say, oh, it's going to be this guy. It's where the mismatches, and, that's kind of where we got to get back to. Yes, Sean Tucker, Schrader, Gadsden is a huge, huge percentage of our offense. But, obviously it has to do with the coaches. I mean, the coaches have to be able to scheme things for other people when the defenses are going all in on those three players. And then those players have to want to go and make that play. So it all has to be earned, and some players have had good catches, and then they've had bad drops. So no one's really stepped up. But I would definitely like to see the coaches kind of scheme a little bit more for some of these other guys. Or possibly give other guys that haven't possibly given the opportunities. Quealy we saw for years. He's been here for, 5 years? Umari Hatcher's had, certain times in spring game and a couple catches against Wagner. Is he ready to go? I mean, it's just
Trevor. I mean, he's come up big a couple times in just.
He's a playmaker. You just got to get the ball in space.
Yeah, I mean that's it, right? I mean, he is a playmaker. So it's one of those things. And he didn't. I mean, we saw him a couple times against Clemson. So I mean, it's just like, And
look, if you take what the defense gives you and all those guys combined for a second receiver, then I'd be okay with that. But I mean, you're really literally seeing 1-2 catches a piece for 16 yards. Alfred's going to get his 1 for 34, right?
Yeah, right.
When you really combine it, it's other than Gadsden, I mean, those other guys don't even equal up to another receiver. So I mean, they got to be up there catching 2, 3, 4 balls, having that chance, because there's got to be spots open. And it's hard to judge Clemson because obviously it got to a point in the second half where he had time to make one read and then get out of there. So maybe we'll see something different in Notre Dame. I hope.
At Coran Campbell, Syracuse 24. Hold on, that's the old well pump kicking on. Syracuse 24, Notre Dame 13. Plays out similar to the NC State game. I saw this one early, and I think there might have been someone else that said something similar too. But what do you think about that? Because I can see that. I could see that with the crowd.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
kind of a juggernaut for a little bit and kind of a tough physical game and just a grudge match until all of a sudden it wasn't. right? Until all of a sudden Syracuse is like, look, enough playing around here. Let's start to put this thing away. I could see that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one good thing is that this Notre Dame team hasn't, they're not undefeated and they haven't shown, just big playability. And, Clemson had shown that. So, yes, do they have the athletes? Yeah, sure. But I just haven't seen it. They haven't done it against lesser opponents.
It's just not put together,
Clemson,
like we mentioned.
And Clemson had, right? So with Clemson at home, especially going for the record at homecoming, I was waiting for the floodgates to open at some point. You knew they were going to break a couple things. But I don't really look at this game that way. Could some things happen? 100%. But they don't have, the receipts in their schedule and in their games, the previous games, to prove that they can. So I'm definitely not as afraid of this offense as I was Clemson's. And really, you saw how our defense kind of bent but didn't break with Clemson. So, who knows?
Yeah.
It's just so big, you don't know what to know. Because you don't know what to think because it's Notre Dame, right? It's just a big name, and they were preseason top 5. I mean, that's a big deal. But here they sit 4-3 with some bad losses at home.
I mean, we're talking 14 years. 14 years since we've beat Notre Dame, too.
Yeah,
and we've played them. We've played them a good chunk of time. 6, I think, since then.
But they lose to Marshall 5. And Stanford at home, but then they go on the road to North Carolina and then beat BYU at a neutral field. So, I mean, if anything, this team has shown that they can do some good things, but I mean, it looks like good things against bad defenses. True. And it looks like inconsistent too.
At Noah D 20, Q's 35, Notre Dame 9. Syracuse's defense is simply too much for the Irish, and Sean Tucker has an absolute massive day with 3 touchdowns. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that's 3 total, but still, that's excellent. I saw our boy on here. Let's see. At Q's Waterboard, Syracuse 34, Notre Dame 17. Fook the Irish. That's. I had to throw that one in there. All right, let's go over to Facebook. And give me a second. I did not screenshot these. So let's do this. Top fan, Dominic. Syracuse 34, Irish 16, bounce back game. They make Tucker a focus of the offense. We score early and often, so Notre Dame can't run the ball 60 times to limit our possessions. And that's what I was mentioned in the front end of the show, was slowing this game down. It's, that's all part of those running backs. And, I can see that's actually a really good score, I think. I mean,
that would be, to be able to do that would be the most positive outcome, right? Because even right now, I feel like we're kind of the walking wounded. And, even if we do win this game or lose this game, I think it's going to be a close game. So, to me personally, in my opinion, it would be super, super impressive if Syracuse came out and just took care of business after that loss at home against Notre Dame like that. So, that's what I want to see. That score is what I want to see. It's not my score.
That's the heart score.
That's the heart score. Yep.
Our boy Zach, still, I don't know. I think they're suppressing Zach over on Facebook, so I'm going to give him the shout out anyway. Still not a top fan badge, but he's on here all the time. He's in Facebook all the time. He's not currently in the green room, but he's in the green room constantly. And they still can't give him a top fan badge. What the hell's up with that, dude?
You know what the deal is, dude.
He must be posting some nasty stuff on his personal page. They
can't be doing that stuff.
Seriously. And they tell you what you want to see in your own damn feed. If
Facebook says it, it's true.
Until it's not.
Which is every time. Which
is all of the things that we were banned for a year ago. Turns out were true. I digress. Our boy Zach. 17-24, Syracuse. Say what you want about their record. Notre Dame has the size and physicality. I will continue to be worried about our depth across our D-line, let alone all of our defense in general. We also need another wide receiver to step up. The difference between this year and 2018, although, is that Dino has done a great job building depth. I truly don't see a step off in productivity unlike years in the past. The mental mistakes are obvious, but we proved Saturday we belong in the conversation. Syracuse just needs to complete the entire game. And that's what they didn't do at Clemson, is play the full game. And that's how they wore NC State down. They just kept on because that game was tight for a little bit. But I like the points, man. You know, we talked about it, the physicality of this game, the last game, the game before that. We knew these 3 games were going to be brutal, and then going in to play a decent Pitt team on the road.
Decent.
So,
and then just get beat by Louisville.
Huh? What the hell did you just say?
Didn't they just get beat by Louisville?
Yeah, I think they did.
They did.
I mean, look, Pitt gives us trouble. I don't care how bad Pitt is.
I get it. It's a rivalry.
Yes.
That's our rival.
Yes, it is. I mean, I'm okay with that. I think the Syracuse Clemson thing is becoming somewhat of a rivalry too, despite the fact that we've lost a ton. They're just always close. I mean, that's kind of what you're looking at.
Yeah. Clemson fans will never admit it.
Well, they don't have to, and I don't think it's necessarily anything I would wish into existence. I like the Pitt rivalry. It's just...
Yeah, this is my thing. This is what's great about it, right?
Which one?
That, you know, Clemson.
Okay.
So, you know, this girl I work with, you know, her and her husband, Clemson fans, and, you know, we were just talking last week on Friday, and she was like, you know, I don't know what it is. I mean, you guys are good this year, but it doesn't really even matter. Like every year, for some reason, my husband Jim is just nervous when Clemson plays Syracuse, and
smart guy.
That's
Jim.
What's hilarious to me, right? Is that like the fans will never admit it, but for some, well, obviously for obvious reasons of the past 4 or 5 years in the close games, the Clemson fans deep down when they see Syracuse, they're a little nervous.
As they should be.
Fact of the matter.
Yeah, it's the fact of the matter. Matter of fact.
Yep.
What else we got? Zach. Did we hit all Zach's points? Because that was a great comment. Let's be honest. Building depth.
You tell me.
He pits on the building depth. I think we did. Years past, we can't.
Our depth is better, but it's still not where some of these other teams are. I mean,
and you know what? SU's always been behind there, and it's kind of par for the course, but it's better than we've had the past few years.
You know,
that has a lot to do with the guys that stayed too. I mean,
no, the guys that stayed in the transfer portal.
Both, yeah.
That combined, yeah. And the COVID.
The COVID
year.
Johnny on the Facebook. 27-24 Cuse need a huge bounce back win after the second half letdown at Clemson. Glad they kept this a true home game and didn't move it to New York City. Exactly. Can't wait to kick the Lucky Charms out of them. I like that. I've submitted my scores on Twitter for 2 years and haven't heard them once. Figured I'd try Facebook for the first time. Please, for the love of God, don't make me wait in the green room with Tony in the mailman. Johnny, we got you, dude. By the way, I did not proofread that. I'm reading most of these for the first time right now.
Great.
So, Johnny, I'm sorry. I don't know your Twitter handle, but if you're listening, give it to me, and I can correct that. But here's the thing. Maybe Johnny was the one that emailed me and said, hey, man, why are you always picking the same guys? You always talk about the same people all the time.
Yeah, that was great.
It was a handful of people, not just one. But look, this is what I like. Johnny listens. He knows I want meat. And that's meat, for crying out loud. Andy, 38-13 Syracuse. So we have no, by the way, as far as I can see, we have no Notre Dame win predictions, okay? Defense dominates. Robert and I decides to open up the playbook instead of playing it safe. Joe, look, I don't know if we've played it entirely safe, but it's been close. It's been close to the chest a little bit. Do you agree? I mean, it's kind of basic, right? Like I expected a little bit more at this point, especially.
I'm not
going to
say that Garrett Schrader hasn't taken chances personally, but as far as the play call down the field, yeah. And I don't know if it's the play calls or if it's the quarterback having to pull the trigger. Don't know, But again, I think there's going to be some things that are going to be kind of figured out this week when it comes to the offense. So,
well, it is.
We'll see.
It is. We are going to see how resilient that everybody can be from the coaches in their playbooks to the players to how everybody. Let's be honest. I mean, the defense doesn't really need like a bounce back game, but the offense needs to get settled, and they got a little bit to prove.
Dome.
Yeah, I know.
It's Notre Dame in the Dome.
Last time I checked.
Doesn't
What's the
happen
score of
often.
this basketball game? Ay, folks.
Look, it's Notre Dame
37-34.
in the Dome. That's enough said. Doesn't matter that they're 4-3 and not ranked, anything like that. Doesn't count as an ACC game. Just go for it.
Oh, that's right. It
Why
doesn't,
not?
does it? That's so stupid. Okay. All right. So, Joe, it's that time. It's that time of the year.
That time of the year or that time of the...
That time of the year and that time of the show, that time of the week, that time of the
Oh,
day.
I thought you were that.
Whatever,
Okay, never mind. I'm not going to go there.
It's almost Christmas time. Real quick.
No, stop
I
it,
get,
don't.
I get
Hasn't even
all
been
of the Christmas
Halloween.
decorations come down after Halloween. So, I don't play. And Christmas,
for you.
Halloween can't be over soon enough for me. The only thing that's good about Halloween is that at the beginning of October, they start selling pumpkin spice everything, and I'm a pumpkin spice all the things kind of guy. And so I'm down with that. I stock up on the pumpkin spice. So what can I say?
I'm not even going to hit that. I'm going to let the
go
people
ahead.
in the green room get you for that one.
Okay, let's see. No one's got nothing.
Well, you can say what you want. Look,
what?
Christmas decorations don't come down for us. Until Thanksgiving,
Yes.
so.
Hold on, time out. Our boy Ant, aka Anthony, aka
God.
Tony, aka Cuse Waterboy, aka Green Room Captain. This dude's just
Lord.
been promoted to Green Room Captain. That's it. He said, "Give me that pumpkin spice everything." Exactly. Thank you.
I mean, I like pumpkin spice too. I just don't brag about it.
Pumpkin spice all the things, Joe, and shut up. All right. Look, here's the thing. Here's another reason I'm pissed off at you right now. You won again, Joe, with the
course.
score of 24-23 Syracuse. That's really good. That's really good. You
I
won.
thought for a minute that we were actually going to get that score.
Oh my gosh, no! I'm the only one who's guessed the score exactly for a football game. It's only happened one time, and I did it. So there's that. But yes, Michael, basic. Who cares? I'm proud of it. Get in the green room, by the way. It doesn't cost you anything. Just download the app. Get it. Sign up with your email, username, password. Boom. Get in there. Hang out with these guys. It don't get no better than this. How awesome would it be to get 20 freaking rowdy ass Syracuse fans inside this green room, typing away and calling in? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's Christmas right there. Talking about Christmas. That's Christmas.
Oh, David Stupor, 42-36 in the green room. That's a high score right there. But it says 42-36. Who you going for?
Oh, you know who he's going for. Down 4, 16 minutes left. All right, he's giving us the play-by-play here. I'm gonna wait for it. But Joe, you do have, and we'll catch it up. You do
No,
have.
he's talking about the basketball game.
Oh,
He's giving us the updates. My bad.
He's some crow. Yes, he's correct. And ergo is my son calling me. He's gonna have to get a text. Joe, do you want to receive or kick?
I'll take the ball, just
Okay.
like Syracuse.
All right, you okay?
So is
Let's
it
hear
bad
it.
that I want to pick the same score?
I don't think so, but it's kind
But
of.
I'm not going to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no. So I'm looking at it going to be a little bit more high scoring. I think we're going to take care of the offense. I didn't see any injuries in the offensive line, so I think we'll rely a little bit more on Sean Tucker. And like I said, I don't think this offense is as good as Clemson's offense, and I don't think the defense is as good either. So, going with relying on, the 12th man and the sellout crowd that we have, we've done very well at home this year, and I'm going to go Syracuse 30 and Notre Dame 20.
Okay. 30-20. Cuse. Joe. So, look, I've been shooting way high lately, so that does factor into my...
Your wins and losses?
Yeah, it does factor in a little bit, although I think it's going to be close to this anyways. So it's a little bit of both. And I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be... I don't know about the defense, and I obviously don't think the offense is as good, but I think the run game might be as good, except for you just don't have one guy doing it the whole time. At least with Will Shipley, you know what you're getting. They got 3 different guys that do 3 different types of things. You know what I'm saying? They're more versatile at running back, and they're going to use it because they're going to have to. Because I just don't see a Drew Pine lighting it up through the air, although it could happen. Okay?
I mean, anything can happen.
I just don't see what else they've got on the offense, so I just feel like that's what they're going to need to do. Look, and they can pull away, I think, on this, but I do think the defense is decent enough, and it's not getting. Look, I hope this can change, but I just don't know if you don't. Obviously, every team from here on out is probably going to look and see what the hell Clemson did. So it's up to Syracuse to adjust from that, right, and change it up, and that's why they need to. That's why they need to do different things. But I still think through the last few games, it's kind of been lower scoring. It's been lower than I thought. So I'm going to go with the 12th man, 27-24, Syracuse, in a close one, man. So,
yeah, I was going to stay close, but all these damn comments got me all fired up to go a little bit higher. So
I know.
I'm a little hesitant with it, but the reason why I'm not is because I think, like to Zach's point and everything, I do see a little bit of depth. I do see the difference. And then the other thing too, really, is that traditionally we've had a good defense, kind of a bend don't break, but near the end of the season we start giving up big plays, right? To pretty much, anybody at some point in the game. And we just haven't seen that this year. They've been really, really consistent in, not giving up big plays. There's been a couple runs with some broken tackles, okay. But, other than when Garrett Williams fell, when Charlie Jones was going up the sideline against Purdue, how many deep passes or deep balls ended up going for touchdowns against us this year for long plays?
It hasn't been a ton of that.
I think that's the only one. If you can name one, you can let me know. But
you got me, buddy.
We got UConn got a decent run. Clemson got a decent. Give away a couple of those things. But I remember giving up deep balls and play out, and our secondary is solid. And
what did you give? What did you give up? You remember giving up what?
I remember our defense giving up a lot of big plays over, in the passing game, over top, after play actions and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we just haven't done that this year. So I've seen different things this year to make me think that this isn't going to go down like the normal November, end of October, November that normally happens in a Babers team because of depth and because of other different things that I've seen. So.
Okay.
Decided to go a little bit higher, 30-20, and I really only did that because I didn't want it to look like a blowout. I don't know if Notre Dame can score 20 points against this defense as it's been.
It's a good point. Yeah, like I said, their red zone offense last week, despite the win, just faltered quite a bit. And we're talking UNLV.
So they're an average offense. They're an average scoring off. Their offense, their scoring offense is 81st in the country, and our scoring defense I think is 6th. I think we're only averaging 15 points a game. So, I don't know. Clemson only got 27 against us. An average offense. They might only get 16, 17 points. We don't know. But our offense needs to obviously put up points because that was the problem this past week. One more touchdown, we win. And that can't be the problem this week.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I mean, gotta put this one away, and we'll see what we got. But I just hope that I just hope that we can pull out a win at home and go to Pitt, and that's gonna be a tough game regardless of what Pitt is right now. And I just kind of hope that Syracuse can pull this stupid exhibition game off. For crying out loud, down by 2.
Let's stop talking about exhibition games. I mean, we lost to Lemoyne at one point sometime way back when. So
True that. Okay. I think that is going to do it for us. Hold on a second here. Oh, wait. Hold on a second. Of course. We get the late bloomer. Oh, boy. I don't know who this is. So let's see here. Not recognizable. Eamon, what's going on, man? What do you got? Oh, you got to unmute yourself. Hello, he's gone. And just like that, he's gone. Okay. All right, wuss. All right. Listen, we appreciate all of you. Thanks for hanging in with us through the Clemson loss. We appreciate it. Many of you came here to listen to us talk about a loss, which is huge. That's huge news for us, just so you know. So, anyway, we will see you Sunday. Go Qs for Joe. I'm Sean. We're out.
peace.